central charismatic living human leader commands total loyalty and allegiance. So that's trait number 1 of a cult. Trait number 2 of a cult is that they are, you might want to take these down in case you have to notice them, or if you're taking a final, this might be on it. Oppositional. Their beliefs, practices, values are often counter to the dominant culture. Right? So number 1, authoritarian. Number 2, oppositional. Number 3, exclusive.
Say me first.
What?
Yeah.
All that. The group is the only one that possesses the truth, and therefore leaving the group is endangering one's salvation.
Uh-oh.
Here comes number 4. Legalistic. Tightly structured autocratic groups operate within a legalistic framework which governs spiritual matters and the details of everyday living. Rules and regulations are abound. I don't think it's one of the classifications. Go. Number 5. Subjective. Cultic movements. Considerable emphasis on experiential feelings and emotions. Subjectivism is often linked to anti-intellectualism.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 6 is a persecution conscious. That they believe that they're constantly being persecuted. Number 7, they're sanction oriented. That they require conformity to the practice and belief and exercise sanctions against those who don't do that. Here is the esoteric thing, like Mickey brought up before, esoteric. And number 9 is that there's no sacraments there. The cults tend to be organizations comprised of lay people, no paid clergy, or professional religious functionaries.
But there's always...
This is not to say that they don't have spiritual hierarchies.
No paid clergy?
Or specific roles.
There's always leadership.
Yeah, there is leadership, yeah. It's just that there's no
Or there's supposedly there's no...
Exactly.
But that's what, it's all of them are...
Absolutely, and what's more, they'll usually have a charismatic living leader. The leader will be claimed to be omniscient or divine. They're absolutely...
On a mission from God.
Yeah. Absolute, it requires absolute obedience, and there are social boundaries that separate and polarize them from members of mainstream society.
By mainstream society, you mean in the cult?
No, from everybody else in the world.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that the leader is separate from the mainstream society.
No. But, so these are, what's it called? These are some of the ways that you can figure out if it's a cult. You know?
We should devise a cult test. Just call the cult and add the sample to our machine.
Exactly.
Someone comes to your door. Can you please take the test?
Excuse me, hold on for a second. Give me a swab. No. I'm sorry. We're seeing a large degree of authoritarianism over here. You know, there's no sacrament.
I can't answer the door.
I'm sorry. Sorry. You tend to have the warning signs of a cult.
When Boschnak comes knocking,
Oh,
start running.
So yeah. So clearly this is a cult. Now the problem with the cult, of course, we're not going to speak necessarily about their beliefs and philosophy, but moreover, probably the biggest danger of the cult is that people get taken into a cult, and what happens to them?
They get sucked in.
They get sucked in, and then what happens?
Brainwashed.
Brainwashed. Okay. Anything else?
They become part of the cult, you know.
They become part of like the Borg. Resistance is futile.
They have others.
You will be assimilated. They get people out to come join the cult also. So that even is the worst part of it.
Tell us what the worst part is, Rabbi.
Well, don't you know?
You lose your identity.
Besides losing your identity and your autonomy, which is a big danger.
I was going to say, that's not important.
So that's pretty bad also, but not only that, it poses a serious health concern. Certain groups don't believe in doctors, believe in praying over wounds.
Also, incestual activity.
Hey, well, I don't know how much ancestral activity there is, and only if you have a brother or a sister in the cult. Although there are sex cults out there that do believe in group orgies, so that is correct also.
That's what I was getting.
Okay, that's what you were getting at. And again, if you're not going to doctors or anything like that, clearly also the group's total dominance of your life, can lead to problems with behavioral health, cognitive health. People are forced to marry other people, not because they necessarily
Like
think
a
that
sign.
but yeah, exactly, they're assigned mates. That they're not given a very healthy diet at all. Mostly high in sugars and carbs, no proteins, no vitamins. Very, very, very dangerous. I mean, ultimately, like we say, that people snap and they lose their minds. So, first things first, and first things first, I wanted to discuss a couple of ways that we can use to stay out of cults. Well, actually, first let's understand the encounter, which actually is a great handbook, which a friend of mine, by the way, who's a cult buster, gave me. It's called,
That's his by profession. He's a cult buster.
for a while. Now he does other things, but he was a cult buster.
NCSI.
And not NCSI. Not NCSY either. So Rachel Andreas and James R. Lane are the publishers of this book. We're going to be looking at excerpts from this book, which deals as a whole compendium of articles on how you get into cults, how to stay out of cults, how cults actually work, how the brainwashing process works. And so we're going to deal with a little bit of that over the course of the next couple of days. So Daniel William Schwartz, if you could do me a favor and begin with the word people in the third line.
Theophily, like you, do not join cults because they want to be a member of that particular group. Rather, that the cult recruiter creates a need in you that only the recruiter can fill. Imagine being in the desert for 3 days without water, and the only way you can purchase some water is to exchange your soul for it. Is it too high a price for you to pay, or is staying alive the most important thing to consider? The real point is how to stay out of the desert in the first place. The psychological desert where a cult takes you is a more desolate, more empty, more dangerous than any real desert in the world. This is where the cult leaders have the only maps to the oasis and the water. Once you accept directions from them, you are totally dependent on them.
Remington, hit it.
The cult recruiter has turned on the heat by engaging you in an incredibly self-revealing discussion, which is, in essence, a therapy session without a therapist. It is a conversation that is not kept in strict confidence and is not with the aim of helping you. The sole purpose of the discussion is to bring you in. Nothing more, nothing less. Without realizing it, the recruiter will get you to talk about everything from your sex life to your family relationships to your dreams and aspirations. Once you open up to them, two things have happened. You are now tied to them emotionally. They have information about you that is powerful enough for them to use as emotional blackmail should the time ever present itself. If you think that what I'm telling you is too strong or too unbelievable or even incorrect, I urge you to read about cults and their practices, talk to knowledgeable people, and think about it yourself. I guarantee that those three activities will only be available to you while you are still outside the cult. The following is a list of 8 items to keep in your mind while you still have it.
Okay, so hold on. We're going to go back to the 8 items and 8, because, actually, no, let's,
Were you checked out all of them?
Sorry.
let's look at,
I'm a follower.
let's look at those 8 items actually now.
Number 2.
So these are 3 things to keep in 8 things to keep in mind. That's why there are 8 things to keep in mind.
24.
That's because they're on the next page.
I look at the next page.
I'll give you the next page. So these are our 8 things that you can keep in mind. So hit it, Remy.
Know who you are and why you are the way you are, especially